How's it going, YouTube? Tyler Field Service Tech here, guys. What we got going on today, we're doing some work at the house. The oil pressure switch on my 2011 Ford Edge shit the bed. So we went and picked up the new part for like 22 bucks, and we're gonna throw it in. Let's get started. All right, guys, so looking here at the top of the engine, the oil pressure switch is down in that hole. Some people do this from the top, but I'd recommend doing it from the bottom, and I'd probably wait until until it's cool, because it's a little warm, obviously, but I'll show you from the bottom where it is. Guys, so location of the oil pressure switch, here is the oil filter, here's the AC compressor with the light on it. We're gonna wiggle a camera up in here. There it is. It is that white plastic connector. That white plastic connector is obviously the harness side. The switch side is what screws into the block. So to make my life easier here, I'm going to remove the oil filter. I'm going to do a full oil change on it while I'm already here. And then we're going to take out the switch and swap it real quick and put it all back together. Alright guys, so first step here, we have to disconnect the harness connector from the switch. I fought at this for about 5 minutes. I used a pocket screwdriver in the beginning to get up in there to push the tab down, just to kind of like break it free from it sitting for so long, and then I was able to put my thumb on the connector and rock it back and forth and separate the harness connector from the switch. Next, I used a 13/16 socket with a wobble extension and a flex head ratchet. I'll show that to you here shortly. The setup that I used, it worked really well to get up in there to get out the switch, and I just pulled it out. I'll have you take a look at it. Alright guys, here's the old one. Here's the new one. I'm going to screw it back in, make sure it's the same part. It is the same part. I'm going to screw the new one up in there. That was not the best of times. You put this in, it has thread tape on the threads, so it's going to go in a little difficult. So putting it in, it's probably going to be pretty hard compared to when you took it out. It took me forever to get this in, guys. I was using a basic Pittsburgh ratchet from Harbor Freight. It's what I started with when I started wrenching years ago. I moved all my original tools to the house, so it took a long time with that lacking teeth and quality ratchet. But it did get the job done, but definitely would recommend a 90-tooth ratchet. Alright guys, we got the brand new oil pressure switch in. That was not the best of times. Wasn't the worst one I've done, but it was definitely up there for bad times. Alright guys, so for tooling, I experimented with a few different options. And I tried different extension lengths and all that. And for me, what I found out working best was a flex head ratchet, 3/8, with this wobble extension. And then just a regular deep well 6-point 13/16 socket. It worked pretty well for me, I'd say. Overall, the only thing that I think the worst part of the whole contraption was the crappy Pittsburgh ratchet and the lack of teeth. It made it take a lot longer than it should have. But guys, wobble extensions are good and bad. If you buy quality ones or decent ones, they're pretty good. So like these Aries ones I bought off Amazon a while ago, I've been happy with these. The reason why is you can lock it in to a hard extension like it is now where it doesn't wobble, or you can slide it forward on the extension and you get a wobble socket. These are, in my opinion, a lot more effective than these U-joint type things. I think these, no matter which brand you buy, are all garbage. If you use a wobble extension, and if you actually have a wobbly socket, that'll get you into almost any situation. And then if you add a flex head ratchet on the as well, it's pretty much undefeatable. Stay away from these handles, guys, that have the grips. When I was first buying tools, I thought they were cool. Don't buy handles with grips. They just get chewed up, they get in the way, and they just create headache. Don't buy handles with grips, just don't. But anyways, guys, we got it in. We're going to finish the oil change, and that's going to sum it up. All right, guys, that's going to sum this video up. Sorry that the camera angles kind of sucked. There was really no room to get a camera in there, just like I barely had room to get my hand in there. But a synopsis of what I did, I basically unplugged the connector backhanded like this with my thumb. I actually used a pocket screwdriver to get it in there to kind of break it loose a little. unplugged it, and then I was able to just unscrew it with the socket and then put the new switch in. Now when you put those switches in, guys, it's gonna feel kind of like you're cross-threading it. So obviously make sure that you aren't. Make sure that your threads match up on your old switch versus your new switch. Make sure that's all the same. But it feels like you're cross-threading it because there's thread tape on it, so it's going to go in tight. With that as well, you got to keep an eye on how far you screw it in, because it will eventually stop. But you want to get it to where if it stops, but it's at a point where you can't get the connector on, you don't want that. So you want to get it to where it's in, like almost all the way or all the way, and to where you can get the connector on, but also be able to get it off next time. You don't want to drive it in all the way, shove the connector on, and then not be able to get in there to get it off. So just something to be aware of. I'm not saying you don't want to put the switch in all the way, but you just got to be cognizant of how it lines up when you put it all the way in. You don't want to put it all the way in and then keep cranking on it to get it to where you want. If anything, you want to have it looser slightly than all the way tight and jammed in home, and then you crank it more. You don't want to over tighten them. Don't over tighten them. Don't ever over tighten stuff. It doesn't help to do the flat rate approach. Don't do that. But anyways, guys, that's going to sum it up. Sorry again, the camera angles kind of sucked. That was not the best oil pressure switch to put in, not the worst I've put in, but it wasn't the best of times. Just kind of from the placement and stuff like that, but overall it wasn't bad. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. If you have any comments or questions, please don't hesitate to ask. If you enjoyed this video, please shoot me a like and a subscribe. And before I forget, all right, guys, here is the part number for you guys. This is a Napa part. I either buy OEM or Napa for everything that I can. So OP6889. Thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for more content.